Welcome and hello and welcome. Thank you for joining me on a very special edition of Un Poco Mas, the show where we give you just a little bit more. Of course, it's me, little Danny Cornbread DiCarlo. They call me Sugarcane because I'm even more stocky than I am sweet. They also call me Cornbread because what am I? I'm soft, doughy, and I crumble under pressure. I think that's a few of my nicknames. Anyway, guys, welcome and hello and welcome. Thank you for joining me once again. I am going to try to talk about SoFi a little bit later. Thanks, there, Brian with a Y. Appreciate the nice compliment there, friend. And welcome and hello to you, good sir. Thank you, guys. Why do I keep harping on Supermicro? I guess I just look for disconnects between, the share price and the fundamentals of the company where something presents itself that is so absurdly undervalued that you almost can't miss. And the way I look at this one is, even if they're guilty as charged, even if they're guilty of everything, it's still just grossly, grotesquely undervalued because they want to shake retail out of the rest of the stock. I mean, it's a myth that there's no, low insider ownership, low institutional ownership. If you look at what happened with institutions, yes, they dumped, but then they bought everything back at the lows, or at least as much as they could. I think they lost control of, the stock below 30. I think the goal they basically had in mind was to sell the stock here at 50 on this and then buy the stock back here. I don't think they ever necessarily wanted the stock to run down to 18. Because like I said, the turd army retail, we buy dips like psychopaths. We don't even necessarily know what the stock is, the company, no due diligence, no brain power, no education, no book learning. Buy the dip, man. Hey, buy the dip. Why not? Go fast, turn left, buy that dip. Hey, doing the drywall to McDonald's up in Vasculitis. Just bought the dip on Supermicro. Oh, me too, man. So anyway, highly underrated movie, Office Space, by the way, one of the best. But anyway, so Supermicro computer, how is this thing worth 3/4 of sales? You look at multiples companies like NVIDIA are getting, and honestly, I know this sounds ridiculous, and because NVIDIA has such good margins and it's just not comparable, I'm not trying to say Supermicro, but if you really look at the growth year over year, Supermicro is growing at a similar rate. I mean, Supermicro is growing infinitely faster than Palantir, makes a lot more money than Palantir, and has like 1/10 the market cap. And I'm going to do another video on why I think people are foolishly chasing this dip on Palantir. And I mean, I even if the company, grows 30% year on year for the next 10 years, they'd barely grow into that valuation. And you see a company like SoFi that's trading at like 1/10 the value, that is basically growing as quickly, I think will ultimately have superior margins. I think people will probably, run me out of town on a rail for saying this, but I think SoFi could ultimately be a more valuable company than Palantir. And, the market cap is like 1/10. I think SoFi is still dramatically undervalued, but I'm going to do a video on that later. God willing. It's all about the children. Think of the children. No, I don't know why everybody always says that, like politics and things, but it's not about the children. It's about you, your own narcissism and self-loathing and Karening and everything else that just makes society a very difficult place to live. Because nobody wants to pull on the rope. Everybody wants to Karen. Everybody wants to be a victim now, and nobody wants to do any hard work, because you're all a bunch of poo-poo heads, and I hate you so much. That's my new theme song, guys. That's little Danny Cornbread DiCarlo, the crooner in me, sending that one out to the turd army, just letting you know I absolutely hate you guys. I'm so sick of Karens. I'm just sick of everybody. Like, just, if if you're worried about the deficit, all this stuff, everybody says they're worried about everything. They're worried about crime. They're worried about debt. They're worried about the deficit. They're worried about geopolitics. But all we ever do is just, Karen and, play the victim. It's like, we don't want to do anything. We don't want to pay more. We don't want to get less. We want to spend like drunken sailors and have our taxes cut all at the same time. And we're surprised we get debt. It's like, we're the problem. Hold up a mirror to society. It's frightening what you see. Hold up a mirror to yourself. I've done some analytics on this. I have an extremely ugly audience. I have one of the ugliest audiences on YouTube, even uglier than a stock mo audience, believe it or not. So give yourselves a round of applause just for getting out of bed in the morning. You really earned it. I'm sorry, guys. Welcome and hello. I didn't get much sleep last night, so I'm just all I'm trying to say is when this goes back up, don't say I didn't tell you. Like, the algo's been locked on this thing like a laser beam since 2022. And you see, this is the algo stepping this up right here. You see how controlled this is? You see the volume just start to come up as they accumulate. Look how it's always running on this exact same slope. Here, 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 right here, right here. It's always running on that exact same slope. And it picks itself up right here, right where we are. Right where the algo let off after this run. This was essentially, I won't say a pump and dump, but they don't want retail making this kind of money. They bring a bunch of retail in here on NVIDIA hype, and then they decide we're going to walk this thing down. And they walked it down too far. And you see that right here. All this volume come in. A lot of this is retail who just woke up one day, saw this thing drop, and like, this is too much. I'm just going to buy this thing in the teens. Pig in a poke. Shot in the dark. Wing in a prayer. That was an underrated show, Wings, with Roy Biggins. Those two like D-bag pilots. Yeah, that one, always the one attractive woman who like works at the counter. Lady with all the big makeup. Just kind of, it's a fun name to say, Roy Biggins. What's up, Alberto? How you doing? What's up, Lisa? Nautilurker's here, the great Nautilurker. Welcome and hello to Nautilurker. And when I was speaking about bald profits, of course, I was talking about the great Jim Cramer, not our very own beloved J Money Nautilurker. And of course, the equally great man who his goatee work, his intricate goatee work is legendary in the Harley Davidson community. Of course, we're talking about the one, the only, one of the greatest and most violent wielders of the moderator wrench in all of turd. It's the great Alberto Berti Aviles. And of course, we don't know what he did with that nephew of his. We gave that nephew a wrench, and he has never been seen or heard from again. I don't know how much life insurance he may have had, but, I'm sure he's fine. I'm sure he's fine. Probably at summer camp. He's at a summer camp. Lasts a few years. No, I'm sure Alberto wouldn't, harm his nephew for insurance money. I'm not trying to insinuate that. I'm just saying we gave the guy a wrench. Been on the show one time. I think he was a fictitious. I think it's basically Alberto wants 2 wrenches so he can just wallop you over the head with both hands. Boom. Anyway, like he's playing drums, like a drum solo right on your stupid noggin. But anyway, why am I talking about SMCI again? I think it's disconnected. Kramer, in this lightning round, he said, I don't like it. I don't like anything with accounting issues. I don't like anything with accounting issues. And that's basically what he said. Now look, dig a little bit deeper. He doesn't do any due diligence. If you look at his track record, it's horrible. But look, okay, this is Hindenburg Research. As you know, everybody knows they just went out of business. The guy who founded it, Nate Anderson, just announced this guy is no public servant. They all wrote these articles, all this fame praise about what a great guy he is and exposed all this, wrongdoing and help. This guy caused stocks to crash. He was short the stock. He was partnered with hedge funds to short the stock. What he does, in my opinion, I'm not a lawyer. This is not a legal opinion. It's just my opinion. Of course, by the First Amendment and the bounds of good taste and sound intellect and reasoning. Almost couldn't get that out. It's so laughable. But what he does should be illegal. If you have this kind of forum and you are short the stock and then you pick this date certain to inflict maximum pain and you release, it's like if you're a journalist, I mean, you should at least have to disclose that you have this massive, they basically are a journalist. It's investigative journalism, but they release it at a time most advantageous to just make a massive amount of money. And their investigative techniques, their friends, they basically get tips. It's like the SMCI case. I mean, what they did was essentially go back through, old court cases and rehash that stuff. BFD. Okay, look, Supermicro, this is an interesting article back from August. Understanding Hindenburg's allegations. What's going on? Doesn't anti-Kramer? Yeah, anti-Kramer always beats it. And in fact, they did a study. He's a horrible stock picker, but he's not doing any, he's just talking off the cuff. He's an entertainer. Booyah. Okay, understanding the allegations. Hindenburg Research and Executive. So they allege Supermicro engaged in accounting manipulation through improper revenue. You can read this. Improper revenue recognition. They recognized more than $200 million in revenue through this unethical business practice from 2015 to 2017. And it also said they rehired executives associated with past scandals. That's true. They did. The second allegation centers around related party transactions, including supply-side businesses owned by the CEO's brothers. The company reportedly paid $983 million in the last 3 financial years to Abelcom and CompuWare, 2 suppliers. This is not illegal, and it is not necessarily unethical. There are family-owned companies. I mean, nobody says boo when Kimball Musk is making millions upon millions of dollars as a, personal chef and pool cleaner or whatever the hell the guy does. I mean, how does he get this guy's brothers are running legitimate businesses? I've looked into all this. According to IFRS standards outlined in IAS 24, a company should probably blah. And I'm not saying they didn't fail to disclose these things in account, but they're not. Notice what they're not alleging: that sales were made up, that it's all a fraud, that it's all some kind of Ponzi scheme, that the orders are fake, that this is the data centers they build, their products are real. And by the way, BTW, for you young people out there, if there are any. What was I going to say? They look at the problems NVIDIA is having right now with Blackwell overheating. NVIDIA leads the planet in liquid cooling on these racks. And everybody's saying, Dell, look at Dell. Oh, isn't Dell. Dell is selling those PCs, those cow-colored boxes. Give me a break. Supermicro's been doing liquid cooling for decades. The people I've done these sort of rabbit hole deep dives into these liquid cooling on these racks on the internet, and I'm no expert, guys. I'm a poli-sci econ guy. And believe me, there's not a lot of science in political science. And my econ degree is long since forgotten. So anyway, but if you look into it, I think Supermicro is the answer to these problems. I think NVIDIA is going to cozy up to Supermicro even more than ever before. And I don't think this improper revenue recognition from 2015 to 2017 matters a hill of beans. It's much ado about nothing. It's barely even any smoke and no fire. I'm going to say it's all smoke. No, it's barely even any. It's like rubbing 2 sticks together. Like a party with all dudes, if you know what I mean. Welcome in hello, and welcome, hello. No, yeah, of course, Jeremy Miller. The world runs on racism. I mean, so is America, after all. The CEO doesn't speak very good. Yeah, but I listened to the guy, the whole Reuters thing like twice. The CEO is a really, really smart guy, and he really understands the space. And they lead in this space. They're most cost-effective, most dense, energy efficient. They're the best with liquid cooling. They're highly, closely aligned with NVIDIA, but not just NVIDIA, also all the other chip makers. They're right there with AMD. They just got new products coming out with Intel. They have new smaller products coming out for like retail, enterprise, personal products. They're leading the way, already have everything engineered for the next generation of chips. This company's not sitting around, and it's reflected in their numbers. So that's the second allegation, is basically, that they're not properly disclosing these, familial relationships. In addition to questionable financing, they also allege corporate governance red flags leading to promoting a corporate culture where loyalty to higher management is received more favorable than employees. And this is all, that is really, I think, legitimate thing, is that management's arrogant, that they had, a toxic corporate culture where, the people in accounting, the people in compliance, the lawyers were simply not able to speak truth to power. And that's the wrong culture to have. You don't want a God complex in your boardroom and with your executives. You want, humility, people that are willing to listen, people that play by the rules. That's how you protect shareholders. You don't protect shareholders playing fast and loose by the numbers. But remember where these guys were in 2015 to 2017. They were a nothing company, tiny. This is old news, guys. This really is old news. The sales they're making last year, 14 billion. The sales they're going to make this year, 25 billion. Those are real sales. Those are real data centers that are really being installed. And look, I guarantee, I don't even think I looked at this. Shares on loan up to 127 million. Short interest, they're saying, is only 80 million. They borrowed another 500,000 shares a day. They borrowed another 1.5 million shares yesterday. Cost to borrow max 6.57. That's been sitting at, less than 1 for a long, long time. So if you look at 127 million shares on loan, times $30 a share, you're talking about some real money here. 3.5 billion, whatever. $3.5 billion they're paying borrow fees on. Now, the borrow fee is still relatively low, but it's not free. There's a cost to holding the stock here. There's a cost to fixing the price here. Are you going to pay the cost to be the boss? I mean, this is a highly controlled, highly choreographed dance. Problem is, when you start pushing down, stepping this thing down, you reach a bottom. It's called zero. This is zero. And the problem is, fundamentals and reality bite. Reality bites eventually. Like, reality says, hey, this company's growing and making money. And some accounting nonsense from 2016 doesn't matter. What happens? What happens with this type of accounting scandal? Just look, top 10 accounting scandal. Listen to this one. Waste Management. Waste Management's bankrupt, right? They're out of business, right? Because by Kramer logic, they should have gone out of business in 1998 when they had an accounting scandal. Oh, God, I hate everybody. I just hate everybody. What's up, Maria Powell? Good to see you. The great Jeremy Lurker there. Jeremy Miller there. Anybody ever told you look kind of like a young Michael Keaton, Jeremy Miller? I like to play a little. You got those color change. You got those color change glasses, though. I just got to say, everybody who wears those glasses that change from like sunglasses when you're outside to regular glasses where you look like a creeper. You just look like a creeper. I don't know. You just look like you're like hanging around a bus stop, just sniffing the bleachers. I'm not saying you, Jeremy, but I'm just saying those glasses, like those color, like just have two glasses, man. Just have two glasses. It's not that big a deal. Get a little case, put one in your pocket, get one of those magnetic things. You freak people out because like you come in, you're like ordering a coffee, they're still dark, they haven't like transitioned yet. You're like, what are you, a fucking movie star? Fuck your color change glasses. Not you. I'm just speaking extemporaneously, Jeremy. You just got me going on a little bit of one of my rants. It's not you. It's me. It's not you. It's never you. It's me. Guaranteed. It's always me. There's some weird mental nonsense. Trust me. It's me. If it's anyone, it's me. To quote George Costanza, I was thinking about Kramer. I was trying to think of something to describe the Neo chart, how they fix that price. I mean, believe me, it's the same algorithm controlling the same, not same algorithm. I'm sure it's programmed somewhat differently. I know it is, but I know a little something about how these things work, believe it or not. But it's the same people shorting Neo, I believe, stepping that thing down that they have been the last couple of years that are shorting SMCI. And you can see it in the charts. But I was looking at the Neo chart. I was thinking of Kramer, like, oh, they love to do zipper jobs. Like, because the chart literally like looks, people say it's like a barcode. It just looks more like a zipper. It's like you got caught with your fly down trying to dump and short from 4. But anyway, so Waste Management, publicly traded waste management company. In 1998, the company's new CEO, Maurice Myers, and his management team discovered that the company, listen to this, had reported over $1.7 billion in fake earnings. They found the company's owner, CEO, Dean L. Bunrock, guilty, along with several other top executives. In addition, the SEC fined Waste Management's auditors $7 million after signing off on a fake $1.7 billion in earn. Maybe that's why people are going to. Wake Management eventually settled the shareholder class action for $457 million. And today they're one of the leading. They're a huge company today. But if you look at past struggles discussed above, counting manipulation highlighted by Hindenburg Research, and there is some legitimacy to this short report. I'm not saying it's mostly old crap rehashed from whistleblower lawsuit that really has no relevance. Going forward, excuse me, pardon me. Lo siento, 1,000 pardons, beg your pardon. This occurred, guys, welcome and hello, by the way. I would be remiss if I did not just take a brief intermission to say welcome, hello, welcome, and hello, and welcome. Thank you for joining me on this very special, extremely special. What makes it special? Absolutely nothing. It is, in fact, a huge turd. It's un poco mas, though. What can I say? They call me DJ Patchy Drizzle because the party barely gets started. It's not even enough rain to, God, we could use some rain in LA, but thank goodness those heavy winds did not come back like they thought. And man, the firefighters are out there just battling, just doing work. It's incredible. They got this thing under control now. Hopefully nobody else dies, nobody else loses their house, but it's incredible. There's 12,000 structures. They're saying anywhere from, I was listening to the CEO of BlackRock. He grew up in the Santa Monica Mountains, hiking in that area. Very interesting. You never humanize these guys. Like, you never hear them like as human beings. Like, he's like, when I was a kid, I used to walk through the Santa Monica Mountains all the time, looking at animals, looking at nature. He's like, this means everything to me. Like, this is just heartbreaking. And you think, oh, the guy's a billionaire or whatever, 100 millionaire. He can't have any past heart. Like, there's no texture. You just think, like, these people are caricatures. They're not human beings. There's no context. So when you hear the context, you realize, yeah, maybe they're successful, maybe they're wealthy, but vast majority of them are just like normal people. They just might be more intelligent, hardworking, successful, whatever. But these things still affect them. Of course, they're not out of home. They're not out of if you're a billionaire, of course, you can always find a place to live, place to hang your hat, place to lay your head, place to kick your feet up. 3 hots in a cot, if you will. Heck, if you're a billionaire, stay at my place. Give me stock tips. Well, that is, of course, the okay of the boss, Princess J and QT. But anyway, Supermicro appealed the decision and eventually met the listing requirements. They were delisted. That's another thing they hit them for in 2027 stipulated period. So they appealed the decision. Soon after this nightmare, August 20, SEC charged Supermicro accounting. Just so you guys know, you should know this stuff. You shouldn't gloss over the fact there are very real problems with this management, with their judgment in the past. And you have to be aware of it. So former CFO Howard Hideshima agreed to pay a penalty $50,000 and prejudgment interest $300,000 to settle the inquiry. Charles Langs agreed to reimburse $2 million stock sale profits to close the investigation. So it's $2 million, which initially resulted in 7% decline in Supermicro stock before the market shrugged off short sellers' allegations. Have been renewed investor interest coverage. So bullish case for Supermicro. And you guys know this. I've gone over the bull case till I'm, blue in the face, but this is a little bit older article. Talks about their collaboration with NVIDIA, attractive valuation. It's since, crashed through the floor from this area. So again, you don't have to be a complete genius, to take a look at these quarterly revenues, middle of 2023, 2 billion, middle of 2024, 5.3 billion. If you look annually, it's even more dramatic. I mean, we were looking just a minute ago at NVIDIA's growth, but look at the sales growth, 6% growth in 2021, 46% 2022, 37% 2023, 109% 2024, and it's going to grow probably another 70% in the current year. I mean, if Palantir had this type of growth, they would probably be valued at $17 trillion market cap. 17 trillion, easy, because it's AI. And the guy's got crazy hair. So whatever multiple you put on it is justified. This is AI. It's the same sector. It's the same thing. Like, no, it's not, because they have an algorithm. They're going to have margins. I know all that. But I'm not even talking about revenue. Let's talk about profit. I mean, Supermicro makes way more money than Palantir. They'll make as much, in a year, next year, as Palantir makes in sales this year. I'm not trying to bash Palantir. They're a great company. The guy's a great American. He's a freaking genius. That CEO probably has 70 IQ points on old Danny Deals. I'm just a Hammers fan. I'm the simple caveman. Sometimes I'd like to jump out of my BMW on the 405 freeway and just run off into the hills or whatever. I mean, that's kind of a bad bit with all the fires going on, because you can't run off into the hills. The hills are on fire. But yeah, just hopefully everybody's safe now. I think they are. I know the Eaton fire and the Palisades fire, they've got containment on. I know there's a few other smaller fires they're working on, but they have so many resources in the area now that the smaller fires that break out, they're able to knock them down before they get out of control. I saw a fire that, somebody broke out next to an apartment complex. Like it goes fast, man. They took those fires between like firemen getting there and getting on that thing. Like 5 minutes can make all the difference between major loss of structure, loss of life, and then just something pretty minor that they get on top of before it ever has a chance to spread. But man, it's very dramatic the way they jump on those things. It's like you wish you hindsight is 2020. Everybody in LA is saying, why didn't they pre-position assets in the Palisades? They had high winds. At the high wind warning, they knew everything was dry as tinder. They should have pre-positioned assets there. But then everybody says, okay, do you wealthy people, and this is what I was talking about in response to a comment, Fireman Pete, also shout out to all the firemen out there, not just, frankly, there's a lot of other people besides firemen that are, working this thing. It's like utility people, EMTs, physicians, everybody else from insurance, but especially the firemen just, putting themselves in harm's way, especially with these wildfires. Extremely dangerous work. I mean, there's a lot of dangerous work out there, whether you're a coal miner or a, crab fisherman. But the firemen right now are just doing a job, man, just doing a job. So much respect to all you firefighters out there. We, the rest of us civvies, thank you. And, it's awful, but it could always be a lot worse. You just think California, we're just investing in the wrong things. It's like we're paying tens of billions of dollars to build a bullet train that's going from Bakersfield to Merced. What the fuck? What's wrong with this? What's wrong with this picture? How many, jumbo, you could have built so much that actually matters or worked. You could have solved homelessness and illiteracy and cured cancer by now with all the money we're spending on that bullet train, you dumb fucks, because it's not your money. And we have the highest, what I pay in state taxes is insane. Oh, it's insane. It's vexing, guys. Very vexing. It's very vexing. All these issues, all these just complex issues. But I'm saying, then these rich people, they don't want to pay for the firemen. They don't want to pay these guys. Like, well, you make too much money. You're a union. It's like, well, how much money do you make, asshole? Don't be mad at me because you got a tiny dick. I'm out here fighting fires. You're working some, writing scripts over here. What are you doing? You're an assistant director. What are you running a law firm? What, you got a nice 3-piece suit over here fighting fires. So, But anyway, guys, I'm not quite sure what all this has to do with super microcomputer. It's always shocking to me that any of you guys watch this show. It's so stupid. But look at the 5-year trend, guys. And I know they're not going to grow this fast forever. But you say, they're losing a ton of money. They're putting a ton of money into R&D. But they're still making a lot of money. Look at the pre-tax income growth. I mean, look at the net income growth here, guys. So 100 million, and then the next year it grows 154%, 285. Next year, 124% to 640, and then the next year, 89% to 1.21 billion. Look at the EPS growth. This is EPS. They're saying they're not going in 5 years. It goes from 17 to $2.17. It's the same story. Nothing they're being accused of is going to put this company out of business. It doesn't change the facts. It's like they said in A Few Good Men. I believe it was the great Kevin Bacon. These are the facts, and they are not in dispute. What say you, Lieutenant Caffey? Put your lifts on and get up to the podium like a big boy. Don't do it. Don't do it. I'm a coward. Shut up to me. Shut up. I'll sue you in England. I can say what I want. I'm going to challenge Jack Nicholson because he has a huge forehead like Giuliano Bologna. And what about little Timmy Switzer coming out and re-rating SoFi again today? Who is this guy? Channeling his inner Chia Pet and his time off as the backup bassist for My Chemical Romance. What is little Timmy on about? It's reiterating that sell rating, an $8 price target after he just came out on his New Year's. Hey, what are you doing for New Year's Eve, Timmy? Little Timmy Switzer, he's like, I'm downgrading the SoFi stock. I'm going to hit the SoFi stock. I want you to go out and maybe have some fun, go to a party. No, I'm going to hit the SoFi stock. Okay, Timmy. I'm going to hit him again 2 weeks later. I don't know. You got a tiny Willie and time on your hands. Speaking extemporaneously, of course. Asking for a friend. It's Eugene Song, the great Eugene Song. Abdullah Arslan. Hello. Hello, Abdul. Hello. Welcome. Don't come to Scotland. We're a third world country. I would love to come to Scotland. You will be hosting me. Haggis and ale all around for my friends. I'm thinking about the move because of taxes down south. Hi, Nala. Hello, Abdullah. Everybody knows each other. I don't know any of you people, but I still love you guys, or I hate you, or whatever. I don't know. Carl Seamark, the Mattress King of Chicago, is on Tasty Trade, and plus he catch a hell of a deal on an inner spring. $3.99 on a full. He's got your $4.99 on a queen. That's not your pillow top, guys. Pillow top's going to run you $6.99, but I tell you what, he's doing 10% off, free delivery, but only within 10 miles. Let's see what's happening with my third-rate Radio Shack Tandy security system. It appears someone is ransacking my house. No, I hope not, but it doesn't work, so who would know, right? It just dings and tells you something's happening, but you can't tell what's happening. There it goes again. Probably somebody's stealing my ties and hats and glasses and such. Anyway, yeah, welcome and hello, and welcome whoever's robbing my house. Great to see you. So I don't know, guys. I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't know what's going on with the show. I just know this is not an $18 billion company where somebody like Palantir is $160 billion. It just doesn't make sense. just the profits they're going to make in the next few years in this AI data center boom trump any of this accounting difficulties. And again, this is all rehashed from a lawsuit. The Hindenburg is going out of business. Again, this is not a public service. This is not a public service. These guys basically wring money out of retail investors. They basically bend people like you and me over with just a tremendous amount of fear. And they hit quick. This guy's not in these positions, short positions for years. Maybe some of them he is. I don't know. I'm talking out of my ass. I have no idea what I'm talking about. So I don't know. I keep buying this turd. I think it's worth $90, $100 at least. I think NVIDIA needs these guys. I think they're going to move forward in lockstep. I don't think they're going to buy them out or anything, but I don't think they're going to be delisted. I think NVIDIA totally has their back. I think Elon Musk likes them. Elon Musk is a practical guy. And I know he chose, another provider, I think Dell, on a recent contract or whatever. But don't think that means they don't have any relationship with Supermicro. Everybody has a relationship with Supermicro. And as this gets more advanced and the cooling becomes more critical, everybody's going to want to be in Supermicro's corner. I mean, Barron's writes new articles on this thing, every single day. Then, they came back out and sort of gave a nod to quantum computing, shorting more shares on the day. I don't know if there's any other news. Volume was pretty, moderate, I guess, 27 million shares. SCUP, here's what happened. Shares didn't really gap up. Modern readers. I don't know what the hell this is. Barclays reduced the price objective on $42. Well, that was the split. That wasn't anything. That's so stupid. But anyway, Needham Links went to 60. So I don't know. They're just rehashed. This is non-art, some AI gibberish. But if you look again, institutions bought back all the shares they owned before the big dips. Just these are facts. These are facts. If you look at the filings, Susquehanna owns 5%. BlackRock, Vanguard, Supermicro owns their own stock. You look at all the filings today, 15,000 shares, average price 42. So these guys are buying the top. Prairie Wood Capital, Royal Fund, they have 104,000 shares calls, 670,000 new shares. So these guys are all in. It's probably all same people doing some bullshit. But Crossmark Global Holdings in all these filings, they're almost all green, guys. Almost all big increases, a lot of new positions. Here's Enagon, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Asset Management, 83,000 shares. Rosenberg, Matthew Rosenberg sold out, so that's very concerning. But Blue Path, of course, the great Blue Path, but these are all green. They're all buying. It's just a myth that, it's just a myth that institutions and insiders don't own this stock. I mean, the insiders own 15% of the company. Institutions own another 55%. So that's 70% locked up. Are these guys idiots? The top holders: BlackRock, State Street, Morgan Stanley, Geode, Susquehanna, Invesco, JP Morgan, Vanguard. As far as I can tell, most of these companies haven't sold out. If anything, they're probably buying up shares like crazy off the bottom in Q4. And I think we'll have to see those filings by the end of this month. But probably by the time they show the filings, they're going to have filed the 10K and they're going to run this thing up. And they're going to have got, and what's the goal here? I mean, the goal here is basically to shake out the swing turders. It's a patience thing. They see this come down, they come up. They stupidly didn't sell here. If you're a swing trader, you could have had, doubled, tripled your money. If you're in calls, you could have had 10 times your money in some cases. But then you're here and you're just waiting for this pop. It's going to pop. It's, pistol pop and Poppy Street. But you just don't have the patience for it because you got a tiny willy. And the water's so cold. God, I hate swing turders because they just feed money to market makers. At least day turders, you're rolling the dice. At least you're, playing Russian roulette. Swing turders, just if you don't have patience and you don't know, you're like, I read IBD every day and I still lose money. Well, again, Tiny Willie. Happens to the best of us. All right, guys. On that note, wee Willie Wanker. God, I'm such an idiot, guys. But I assume most of you already knew that. Let's see if these new comments are worth a damn. We got White Feather, Premier the option. You own a lot of shares. Yeah, everybody's talking about MFA. I keep hearing about that. When is price to moon? I don't know. I agree with you, Clap My Dog. Could be a lot more. I mean, 50 billion is only twice this year's sales, and they're highly profitable. Good for you, White Feather. I like your hat. I like the way you roll. I like people who come in like a loose collared dress shirt and a Western hat, like cowboy. It's not really a cowboy. It's like a fake felt hat. It's like a hat you can work in. It's a white hat. Beware of phony cowboys in black hats. This ain't a Western movie. You ain't in a duel with Clint Eastwood. You're going to work in that hat in the hot sun, dust. You want a nice white hat. You know? White Feather. He knows what he's doing. You turds should take note. Pay this man some respect. You useless city slicking D-bags. You jabronis. You jamokes. You shoe shine boys, you country club golf hustlers, you truck stop all-stars out there, you cabana boys, you guys working the pools in Vegas, oiling each other up. Anyway, guys, that's neither here nor there. What I do in my free time is my own business. Agree with it. Short time frame, stocks get manipulated, total retail, TikTok fundamentals. Eugene Song's got it. Is that a King of the Hill avatar, Michael Anthony? Excellent. What's your price prediction? My prediction is pain. No, I think if the 10K looks pretty good, there's no major restatements. You know, it's basically what they said, 6 billion last quarter, maybe 6 billion, a little bit more in the next quarter, even slightly less. I mean, as long as they're on track to hit that, 24, 25 billion, that's a massive increase on the top line. You're going to see a very healthy increase in EPS. I mean, even if it trades anywhere near the sector, the price should at least double. At least. I mean, come on. I think it should go back to where it was. I think it ran up here for a reason. Demand is only going to get more and more and more. I mean, they just don't want retail keeping these profits. They don't like it. They want 80% institutional. And I mean, if you look at it, this stock went from 30 to 100 and, I don't know what it topped out at, but it was, I think, 128 or something. I mean, so it like 4 point something X in a month, or I don't know how long. Sorry, his chart's jumping around. So this was basically New Year's and then tops out, 2 months later. 4.5 X's in 2 months. Nope. Johnny Retail ain't going to get rich. Not on my watch, says Mr. Shortwing All-Star Short Seller. Hindenburg coming in, peeing on my Wheaties. Turd in the punch bowl, guys. Closing in 80. You love this MFA. Shares new low. Tribe 7 now breaking even. What is the shortest interest in institutional ownership? It's showing 50%. The short interest, if you look at Ortex, I mean, Fintel, all these sites have their own deal, but the short interest is showing around 16% of the free float, 80 million shares, but there's a lot more shares on loan. And the cost to borrow, Max, really went up today quite a bit. And I guarantee they're going to borrow a bunch more shares today. After hours, like yesterday, they were returning 2 million during trading. And then after hours, they borrowed 4 million. So it kicked it up to a 1.5 million net. Anyway, guys, I appreciate you watching. It's Un Poco Mas. I got to run. I want to thank the great Nautilurker, the great Alberto Berti Aviles. No, I think short interest will go down. I don't think so, Jeremy, because there's not a lot of mystery. Management already came out and said they sold about $6 billion. The forensic accountant, legal people, this lady who was the general counsel at Intel came out and said there's just not a lot here. Said, yes, some of the allegations are true. Some things were done improperly, but it doesn't go to the heart of the numbers. It doesn't go to the growth. It's not a black swan type of thing. It's around the margins. It's slap on the wrist. It's the kind of thing they're going to be fined for. Nobody's going to prison on the back of this. These export controls. Are you kidding me? You know what these people do? CEOs, a bunch of sociopaths. That's how they got there. Grow up, people. Grow up. You guys are a bunch of children. Peace. I'm out.